Hi guys, I'm Diana Blanco. I'm in 11th grade and this is my online gym final assignment. So I chose to make a website, and as you scroll down you'll see my purpose and my table of contents. And if you wanted to navigate, like if I went to interview 2 and I wanted to get to lesson 4 or 5, there's a table of contents here on the side that you can also access that makes the website easily accessible, etc. So now diving in. So the purpose of this website was for me to take all of the assignments, all of the information that we learned throughout the course of this online gym course, and condense it into one thing that's hopefully visually appealing and also serves as a way to reflect. So let's go to the first assignment, lesson 1, which was understanding exercise and fitness. So within each of these lessons we had to do an assignment. So what I chose to do is I chose to embed each of those within this website in order to make it more accessible, more easily accessible, and as a point of reference for people if they wanted to view it again. So my confession camera is here, and if you just press play, and don't worry, we won't watch the whole thing. I just want to make sure everything works. So there it is. And so now just to quickly summarize and reflect upon it, my philosophy of fitness definitely it changed a little bit. It was modified more than anything. It kept the same things, honestly. So what I mean by that is that before, my philosophy of fitness was that one should be able to feel comfortable in their own skin and good with their body, be able to feel fit, and in order to achieve that, you have to exercise, eat well, and make healthy choices. So it's the same thing for me now at the end of the semester, but what changed was that I've realized that I should have expanded upon it more and maybe added that time is just something that, it takes time and effort to reach your ideal philosophy of fitness. You can't just snap your fingers and expect it to be done right then and there. It's just something that takes your dedication and you have to keep after it, which makes sense. I don't know why I didn't mention that before, but I just realized that reflecting upon this first lesson and through the course of the semester, that's something that I would want to add if I could do this again. So now if we go to lesson 2, lesson 2 was understanding exercise and fitness. So here's my fitness interview if you want to view it as a point of reference. So through this, I interviewed my mom, Mrs. Bresch, and my cousin Emily, who's a college student. My mom and Mrs. Bresch are middle-aged because I couldn't get anybody who was considerably older than me, but either way, that's okay because a big component of this online gym course is discussion. So even though I wasn't necessarily able to get somebody considerably older than me, my peers were. And so reflecting upon what my peers were able to give me too, which was pretty cool. I know somebody interviewed somebody who was 98, which is insane to me. But I was able to compare my fitness with somebody who's a college student, a middle-aged person, somebody who's considerably older than me. So this lesson was just in conclusion. This lesson was beneficial in helping me to study exercises through different ages than my own. All right. And so another cool thing about this course I failed to mention was that everything was just so tied together. So while that other assignment was interviews of different stages of life, etc., this is lifetime activities. So the life activities that I chose to do were Zumba, badminton, fencing, yoga, and bowling. Oh, and also, just want to side note here, if you can't view this very well, there is a link down here that will take you to the website and redirect you, and it's a little bit easier to read, and you can zoom in on it. Anyway, going back to this, it was really cool how that last lesson 2 and 3 were really well tied together because we had just talked about different stages of life, and then we different stages of life of fitness and exercising, and then we go to lifetime activities. So I had never heard of what a lifetime activity was before taking or doing this assignment. So it was cool for me to find out that it was, sports or activities that you can do through not just when you're young or middle-aged, but throughout your whole life. So a big takeaway I have from this is that, age isn't an excuse for you not to stay active, for you not to stay fit if you want, because things like swimming, yoga, bowling, etc., those are going to keep you active enough, and even as you get older, they're lifetime activities, so you can do them throughout your life, as opposed to something like football. You can't play football your whole life, or else you risk injury. So moving along to lesson 4, fitness app review. Oh, that's right. So in this, I chose to review it was an ab app. So like this showed me like different poses of ab workouts that I could do, etc. So I just want to do a side note like thing that I realized while reflecting upon this lesson was that I am not a very tech savvy person. I hate to admit it, but I suck with technology. So the fact that I had to take this app and take screenshots of it and then put it into a video and all that stuff, like that was like rocket science for me. But I learned, and so that's something that was beneficial for me in this course, also just learning how to use all this technology. Either way, I noticed how the app that I used lacked a lot of the things that some other people's did, because like I know like somebody did an app that like you could just like log in your food and it would like calculate your cholesterol intake and like you would put your weight into it, etc. And my app just didn't really have that. So I guess it's still a beneficial app, like if you're a person who just wants to like look at how to do different ab exercises. And so I guess my biggest takeaway from this is that every person is going to have a different fitness app like compared to what they want, and so it's just important for you to do your homework, try out different apps and just find something that works for you personally. So lesson 5, injury prevention tip sheet. So let me just say that I loved this. Making an infographic for the first time, because I had never had to do this before, was actually really fun. You have to pick your little font, you have to pick your color scheme, and it was just something that I found I really enjoyed. So mine, as it says here, was sprains. And again, if you can't view this very well in the website, I also have a link here that you can go to view better. So to reflect upon this, I noticed that I knew a lot about sprains before, but I did not know some things about, like, I have here Osgood-Schlatter disease, which just really goes to show how beneficial the discussion aspect of this course was. So I learned that the Osgood-Schlatter disease was like a pain at the base of the knee that children usually get when they overwork it, when they're overactive. So overall, I was able to use this infographic, take all this information I found about sprains, and condense it into something that was visually appealing and, beneficial for other people, hopefully, to be able to view. So, next one, lesson 6. Lesson 6, drop the beats. So, I also really like this lesson, not only because it was an infographic and I really enjoy making infographics, I found, but also because I was able to take my 6 exercise workouts and portray them. So here I have, my heart rate and like average pace of runs, etc., all portrayed, and I was able to reflect upon those. And so one thing that I have here, I noticed a general increase in my heart rate max, average pace, etc., over the course of my exercising, and I learned through this that it is important for you to keep track of your progress, because if you don't keep track of your progress, then kind of like what's the point of exercising? So I think that was the main goal of this assignment, was to show you that while you exercise, you should be, keeping track of your progress to motivate you to achieve at an even higher level than you could have before. All right, lesson 7. This was the last one, hashtags and hash browns. So here I have the Google Doc that I put all of them into, and then I just copied and pasted it into the discussion panel thing. So here's just a point of reference if you want to look at it. So I thought that this was a really cute assignment because it took tweeting, which was something more modern, and tried to like integrate it into school, into gym, etc. So I found that the video that was the most beneficial, the biggest takeaway from this lesson. It was the grit and perseverance one. And, the main message of that was that, you need to have this grit, you need to have perseverance, you need to work hard, you have to put effort into things in order to be successful. And so not only does that relate to life in general, it also relates to fitness, and it related to my philosophy of fitness that in order for me to succeed more at my fitness, I would have to put work into it. It's not just something that I could just, like I said, snap my fingers and it would just be done. So that was the beneficial part of this. And so that was my website, and I'm not quite done yet. We're going to go to a presentation I made and just answer these questions that were also a part of this final project. So, philosophy of fitness and the role you expect to play in the next few years. So as I mentioned earlier, my philosophy of fitness from that very first assignment, our confession camera, did not change all that much. It was more expanded upon. So just to reiterate that, time as a new component of philosophy would be added to my philosophy of fitness, I definitely think. Alright, so next one. A brief explanation of the unit that spoke to you the most or motivated you to improve. I think the unit that motivated me the most probably was Unit 6, the drop the beats ones, the one that I had to measure out six workouts, because, I was able to see, that increase in my heart rate max, average pace increased over time, and just seeing that like actually on a graph and seeing this isn't just a waste, like I'm actually improving, was very beneficial, I think, and motivated me to keep going in the long run. So I also have here in my notes the power of grit and perseverance. That was in Unit 7, and so I had a tough time choosing between 6 and 7, because 7 just motivated me. That video that lady said about, I don't know why it spoke to me so much, maybe because that's just something that I've always been told in my life, that in order to have good things, to have nice things, in order to achieve, to succeed, you're always going to have to put work into it. You're going to have to work hard, and that's okay. So between 6 and 7 meaning the video, and then 6 meaning like my progress, that was the best that motivated me in this course. Describe your approach to integrating fitness principles in your life with specific examples. How do these fit with the pressures of being a teenager? So my approach to integrating fitness in my life at first was kind of negative, because I don't like to exercise. That's the bottom line. Like running, all those things, I hadn't done those on a regular basis before I took this course, and I didn't always like them. I don't know if that shows like laziness or whatever, but also I was just I kept busy with other things, maybe not so active in like sports and all that stuff. But either way, I'm a very involved student, so finding the time or motivation to do something I didn't really like at first was difficult, but as I saw the positive, I felt more rested, I was more focused, and my family would be like, hey, you look like you've lost some weight, and like, those kind of things, like, they feel good. So overall, it was more positive. So, and how did it fit with the pressures of being a teenager? Just, managing time, honestly. Like I mentioned before, I'm a very involved student, so when the semester started over, like with the marching band season, like when I'm really busy, I was just having to find that time to do it, and it just really helped with discipline. And yeah, so my biggest ahas about fitness to this point was that my philosophy of fitness was the biggest haha, because that was just something I just hadn't thought about before. Like I said, I hadn't really exercised much before taking this course, so that was just the biggest aha for me. And then another thing that I was able to learn about the lifetime activities. I had never heard about that before or knew what that was, so I thought that was cool. Also about the injuries, as I mentioned before. And finally, the biggest aha was like, at first, I kind of didn't like the discussions. I kind of thought, like, oh man, I already did this whole assignment. Like, what's the point of doing the whole discussion? But, like, my big aha was that it is beneficial. So I guess my question now is, what's next? What is next for me now? Am I going to keep going on with running? And I kind of hope so. There's a lot more positive than negative to exercising, and that's my conclusion. So, that being said, thank you for watching my video on my final project. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for this course. It was a good experience to have. Goodbye.